Good morning, everyone. It is Romy here on Anzac Day, Saturday the 25th of April 2020. And how lucky are we? How lucky are we to have this beautiful location, land, beautiful day. And I just want to come here today. It's 9:25 or something this morning so far, and I've had an extraordinary experience. As you know, we're all in isolation across the globe, mostly anyway, and Anzac Day is a big day here in Australia, honouring and remembering all of those that have served the country, the animals, the people. And so instead of going to our dawn services and doing that there, we've been asked to come out into our driveways at dawn and light a candle and just, either listen to the sound of the bugles and the bagpipes that are floating around this morning, playing the last post and Amazing Grace, and having a moment's silence as we remember. And that was really moving. When I got up this morning, I really felt this huge presence of people that have served in spirit. It was a really thick and overwhelming kind of feeling for me. Anyway, and particularly when it's whatever time it was, 5:45, and Amazing Grace is playing off into the distance on some bagpipes. That was pretty moving. After that, I got dressed and I've just come for a walk, and just felt like a little bit of solitude, just to sit with whatever was going on, just like spirits everywhere for me today. Anyway, so I've gone for my walk along the beach, which is beautiful, and good morning, Di. Nice to see you here. I've gone for a walk and I've just felt this gentleman come into my presence. It's like I had all of these war veterans in spirit that were fighting to say something to me, and literally I just sort of felt a bit of argy-bargy. I felt them sort of pushing each other around, and this one man kind of who was behind came to the front, and he had some words for me. So at that point, I'd actually just turned up at the memorial, the Lest We Forget memorial in the suburb that I live in. So it was kind of an appropriate time for him to join me. Anyway, so he basically, he died, his name was Don, and he died a couple of months before the end of the First World War. And he showed me that when I asked him, how he died, he showed me himself sort of hanging over a bayonet. He's not sad about any of this sort of thing, or resentful or angry or any of those things. He just acknowledges that he came through that entire time unscathed, and he just had a couple of months left before he could have gone home and been with his family. He also wanted to tell me that, and he was talking on behalf of not just him, but he was saying me, and he was saying that he didn't sacrifice. He wants people to realise that he didn't sacrifice himself for the country. He didn't sacrifice himself for anyone or anything, because he had no clue as to what he was going into. But what he does say is that he was chosen, and that is a far greater honour than sacrificing himself for the country. He wants us all to live more in representation of the four-leaf clover, and for him each leaf represents love, togetherness, compassion and fun. And fun is a really a big one for him. He said that quite a few times, just to remind us that we need to be less serious and cherish the moments we have and the people that we have, but also to not forget that life is supposed to be a little bit more joyful than what it is for many of us, particularly at the moment. And so that was really interesting, and I felt really moved and a little bit overwhelmed, and I kept walking just with his presence around me. And I got to the turnaround point on my walk, and I was turning around and this little white feather just sort of dropped in front of me from somewhere, and I felt this charge. I felt like I needed to pick it up, so I'm chasing this feather around because it's blowing in the wind, and I grabbed the feather and I start to just sort of look at this feather and walk along, and it's not like someone appeared before me, but I guess I just noticed there was an army soldier walking in front of me, a young guy, probably in his 30s, and so he was just walking along in his uniform and his bag that says, we will always remember, and that sort of thing, and this feather was for him, but I felt really stupid. It was for him from this Don that was in spirit with me. I felt really stupid to stop and give him this feather and tell him that I had some dead guy that was here from World War I wanted to pass his feather on. So I hesitated a little bit and I kept walking, and I thought, oh God, that's really stupid, don't be so self-conscious or whatever it is that's messing with your head. This is a really important day for the armed forces people, past and present. Anyway, so I kept walking and I slowed down. I thought, no, I felt really pressed to go back and give that to him. And so I turned around and I looked at him and he looked at me. And then I turned around and I kept walking. And I thought, oh God, this is really ridiculous. So I kept walking and I walked, I don't know, for a couple of 100 metres. And I thought, all right, I just had Don here saying, please, that I have to give him this feather and say to him, remember who you are and cherish what you have. And so I stopped and I waited and I felt stupid and I felt all of those things. And I turned around and I walked towards him, and there was people around him. I thought, oh no, they're going to hear what I'm saying. That's going to sound even more nuts than what it already is. So I waited for them to walk past him, and he had headphones in, and he looked at me and he took them out, and I said, good morning to him. And I said, did you serve? And he said, yeah, I did. And I said, I might sound like a little bit of a crackpot, but sometimes hearing something from a crackpot is okay. I have this feather for you, and I have this gentleman who served in World War I, and he asked me to give this to you, and his message for you today is to remember who you are and cherish what you have. And I gave him this feather, and this overwhelming sense of emotion. God, I thought this guy was just going to burst into tears. And that was that, and he was very thankful, and I turned around and I walked off, and I stopped and I turned around and he was looking at me, and I said to him, his name was Don, and he said thank you and bowed his head and just I turned around and I walked off. But it was such a profound experience, and I just felt that all the way back to where I am now, where I'm having my morning coffee. And I'll just remind you where I am, because I'm just, like I said, I'm the luckiest person in the world. But I just felt this overwhelming emotion from him, and also from myself. It was very moving. But all the way back, I've just felt this huge energy of war veterans. And horses, horses and dogs, as well as people in spirit around me. So it's so dense that I feel like I could touch them. So let's not forget, if I had a bugle, I would play you the last post. In fact, I did learn the trumpet at one point, and I learnt that song on there. But I won't drag that out of the archives. But I'll just finish with a "Lest We Forget," and let's honour and remember all of our people that served our countries. Have a great Saturday, everybody, wherever you are.